So when we talk about natural skills, we want to be able to develop our natural skills first. The skills that we have at the house and at the crib, whatever that may be, whether you're an artist or you have ideas or an imagination of that you were when you were a kid, you have to get back to those things and carve out those things. And when you carve out and expand on those things, then this is what allows you to create abundance. The more you carve out yourself from the inside, the more abundance you create for yourself to expand on, by learning from new environments. So all this leads me back to the importance of complementary skills. Complementary skills are what will help you to sustain yourself in your entrepreneurial life. Complementary skills make the job easier, and they make the job more effective. It make the output of the job more effective and more sustainable, and it makes you more impactful. So when you see a lot of people that go about um, in their careers and they have long-term success, and they have created a body of work that came from progressions a little by little, day by day, over a period of time. This comes from their ability to have a definitive schedule and doing the same things over and over again. It comes from and be disciplined to those things. It, and people who have high performance in environments to where they're required to perform and get to compete against other people, the way in which you can continually do that, what would make the job more sustainable is from complementary skills, from training yourself in ways that enhance you and not yourself, in not the technical skill itself. Most people train themselves in the technical skill itself, which is not very sustainable. If you train yourself just in the technical skill, you become susceptible to just the technical skill. But if you train yourself in complementary skills, this will allow you to expand and become more sustainable because you're training yourself for the technical function instead of training yourself in the technical function. So when we talk about being more sustainable as an entrepreneur and growing and expanding ourselves that way, it's a three-step process from us first developing our natural skills, our abundance, what we have at the crib, what we are born with, the gifts that God put in us, and creating our abundance out of those things, out of those skills, and then from creating abundance out of those skills, um, we develop complementary skills that will help us to maintain or sustain the job of the technical function, whatever that technical function may be. Because the technical function is nothing more than just an outlet in which for you to express your natural skill. Your natural skill is pure. Your natural skill is whatever it is in its pure state. But a technical function is just a vehicle that you use in order to impact society with your natural gift. And so we have to put our natural skills, whatever those things may be, into technical functions in order to maximize um, the, that gift, whatever it may be. So finding the technical skills in which maximize your articulation or the manifestation of that natural skill or gift to the world is the most important thing. But at the same time, in order for that thing to be sustainable, we must develop complementary skills in order to help in those assist in our ability to be most impactful with our natural skills, our gifts, and in the technical function, as well as helping us to be um, more sustainable, most sustainable our in our day-to-day life. So with that being said, what are ways that we can train our complementary skills, right? So in some ways we can train our complementary skills in order to be most effective. What we do is by reading books, developing critical thinking skills, building capacity, building physical capacity, and building mental capacity. Building physical capacity comes from working out, right? But at the same time, Building physical capacity can also mean um, training ourselves in the technical functions that we do, because the better we are at the technical functions that we do, the easier it is to um, impact society, right? And that's the most important thing. But at the same time, what's also important is to develop our natural skills the best way that we can. Because when we develop the natural skills the best we can, now, believe it or not, this is what allows us to be more effective in impacting society than if we were to just maximize our technical ourselves in a technical function. So if I'm someone who's really creative and have a lot of imaginative ideas, the most important thing for me to do is to be able to synchronize my imagination and what I am in my purest state with whatever technical vehicle that I'm operating in. It's not to neglect my nature and to and what I'm born with or my gifts, and just just be a part of this natural or this technical function. No, it would be to synchronize what who I am as a person naturally, in me in my purest form, my imagination and all these things, and envelop these things into the technical functions that I get into. And the most important thing, in order to maintain uh, yourself the most important thing to maintain yourself to be complementary in that function and the most efficient in that system is by developing complementary skills. So the different complementary skills that you can develop start with first developing yourself to think critically. You have to be able to develop your mind and your body in a way that will allow it to continue to perform the technical functions smoothly and most effectively. And the ways in which you develop your body in order to perform these technical functions is through repetition. It's through building muscle capacity. Um, More importantly, muscle enhancement, or uh, and as well as and developing the mental capacity in order to make the job easier. So that way you don't exert as much energy, um, right? Your body is not exerting as much energy. So you want to be able to think in a creative space. You want to be able to think in a creative space that will allow you to become more strategic and more critical in your thinking more easily. The more creative you think, the more innovative you become. And the more innovative you become, the more impactful you become with, and the more efficient you become with the less energy that you're using to get the job done. So it's very important to develop our creativity, and by developing creativity, we have to watch more. We have to watch more environments. We have to watch more people. Uh, we have to watch more things and expand our mind and expand our horizon, because we don't want to be, if we're trapped in our own environment, we can't, we can only see from the lens of our environment. And a lot of times when we can only see from the lens of our environment, not only can we not see problems within ourselves, but we can't find solutions to problems in our environments, because we can only see from the lens of our environment. So by expanding our mind and by watching other things, being a part of other environments, this will allow us to be able to have more capacity as a. This will allow us to have more capacity as a as an entrepreneur in our mind. This builds our mental capacity in order, in order to become more effective, right? So we talked about physical capacity and building our muscle to allow us to perform the job easier. Well, building mental capacity will allow us to perform the job much easier as well. So if we take time day by throughout each day to develop our mental and physical capacity, this will allow us to perform the jobs that we need to or want to do more effectively and more easily. See, a lot of the things that we watch, whether it be YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. See, the thing about these particular apps and these particular modes in these apps is that you're downloading a lot, you're receiving a lot of information from a lot of different environments uh just from the scroll just at a very fast rate, right? So of course there's a lot of negatives to social media, but at the same time, what these apps do is they allow you to experience different environments at a extremely high clip. So if you're not watching these shorts, if you're not watching social media, and if you're not taking from all these different environments, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage to other against other people, because most other people are on social media and most other people are taking from these different spaces and environments. So it's important to see social media. This is a way that people connect. This is a way that people can connect and see and experience other environments without actually being present there. And that benefit and that strength is so powerful that it's something that you can't really compete with, if that makes sense. Um, of course, there's a lot of negatives that come with social media, because sometimes some of the things that you watch can be influential to you in a negative way. But um, at the same time, it's too important to not let your mind and your mental capacity be put at that much of a disadvantage or a vulnerability to someone else who does expand their mind and who does continue to experience and develop themselves in this way. So it's important that we look at things objectively instead of looking at things in a sense of um, the general nature in which society would classify something, because that could put you at a disadvantage. So, with that being said, the two most important things in order to making yourself most sustainable as in the entrepreneurial life or your lifestyle is by being physically building yourself, building physical capacity, as well as building mental capacity, right? Um, but at the same time, these things can't really be built, and even complementary skills are not sustainable without natural skills in order to root yourself in. Natural skills are the roots in which everything is springs forth. So without natural skills developed, nothing is sustainable. So instead of building muscle capacity, it's best to build muscle activation first. That comes from doing push-ups and squats, and that comes from your workouts without the weights, and it comes from resistance band workouts. What you want to do is to be able to activate your muscles. Muscles by themselves plainly are like are like the best way I can describe it is your body itself. And most of the times we want to build capacity in things without first exploring and getting used to the components of our own body. Um, and that is not sustainable. We have to know ourselves inside and out, and mentally and physically, right? We have to explore our own minds, because our mind can be used against us. And we have to be able to develop develop, activate our muscles before we build capacity and before we bulk and try to build muscle, right? We want to do stretches, and we want to do push-ups and really get used to our muscles and really try to activate as many muscles as we can before we start to build capacity. But other than that, um, uh, I hope this video is a good video for you guys in terms of developing yourself as an entrepreneur. Um, I I did want to go over. I really wanted to list out the different ways and different things that you can do in order to build capacity, in order to complementary skills in order to make the job easier. Because I think that's that middle ground that really makes that really centers makes that really makes your technical functions your life. Um, because it's one thing to hop into a technical function and it be something that you not want to do or something that you're not rooted in, and because you're not rooted in it, it's not sustainable for you. And um, sometimes I always go back to this as athletes. It's so hard for us nowadays to carve out ourselves and do what we want to do because we train our whole bodies and our whole selves to be basketball players, because this is just what's promoted and propagated to us as basketball. So we tackle and go into it, and it becomes us. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like there's much more than uh, there's much more than just basketball in the sense of just playing the game of basketball. Like sometimes we can become a slave to the game and wanting to just play on a certain team or play. You know what I'm saying? Like play on a certain team, and it's like sometimes we're putting our whole faith in the the acceptance of a coach, you know, and or the acceptance of some sort of GM. And once we do that, we're taken out of our own life and we're taken out of our own selves, and we can really damage ourselves mentally that way and physically. So as we do that, and if that does happen, it's like now we're in a position to where we haven't developed ourselves naturally, and we've taken to this sport of whatever it is, and we've built all this capacity. Now we're functioning in a mind and a body that's not rooted in itself with all this capacity, which is nothing but destructive. Um, it's nothing but destructive to society, and it's nothing but destructive to everything around it. So this is why it's so important to take time and just separate from many other things and really explore that childhood self and really explore who you were as a you know as a kid before basketball and before anything else, right? Like what parts of basketball did you really excited you, and get back to those parts of basketball. What were the parts of basketball that sparked you, or what are some things that you did in your childhood, or environments that you were in that that you remember, that you have a high remembrance of, because it meant something to you, something in you. It meant something in you, and that's why you have such a good memory of it. Whether it's spending time with family on a Saturday or something, or whatever it may be, and get back to those things, because those are the natural things that God gave you, or those are the natural things that make you you. And when you can carve out these natural things, this is what makes you the strongest version of yourself and the most sustainable version of yourself. If you ever seen somebody train themselves just bulking and just trying to build capacity, right? It's like, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference between someone who goes in a gym for the first time and immediately picks up weights and the person who goes in the gym for the first time and picks up the resistance bands and starts doing push-ups. Them two people, by the time 30 days is up, or by the time they get deep into their progressions, um, by the time some fruit starts to spring forth, you're gonna see the major difference between them two people right there. One person is grounded from the root up, and the other person, you know what I'm saying, just is not sustainable and probably quit. You know, so that's what we want to talk. That's what we want to get into today. Is really express that importance of natural skills and rooting yourself there first before um, you try to take your way to anything else. Like because yeah, this is what makes life life. This is what makes things sustainable. And if we can't develop, you know, if we're not developing our natural skills, we're not really living. You know, the difficulty level of it is a little bit different. It's different than hopping into a technical function, because with a technical function, it's like this is something that's outside of you. That just is what it is. It's a system. It's a system that just is what it is, and you have to adapt and fit yourself to that system. Right? That's the difficult. That's the only difficulty in a technical function. But when we get into a natural skill or a natural function, this requires you to forget everything that you knew about all your influences. This requires you to remove yourself from all environments. This requires you to go within yourself in order to try to figure out what things mean, right? When it comes to natural skills, these skills are the hardest to develop, are the most dangerous, because can't nobody help you with it but you. But when you can master these problems right here, and you can really go within yourself and really figure out what it is, you become unstoppable. You become the strongest force on the planet. Can nothing stop you. And that's the power of natural skills. Because you against you, when the battle becomes you against you, yeah, that's when you know that ain't nothing outside you can really hold you, or ain't nothing outside you can really can stand the test of time against you. So that being said, you know, pretty much the importance of all this stuff, you know. Um, hopefully this message clicked with somebody. You know, I'm gonna conclude this video right here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I was pretty long-winded with this, um, but we're gonna keep breaking down everything we've just discussed in future videos. So I wish you all the best. Peace, and I will see y'all in the next video.